Boxing Day, black pudding and bubble brunch. All the bees. Bet you I can't say that again, I can't actually remember what I said. It'd be a Christmas miracle if you could like, comment and subscribe. Because I don't think anyone's done all three. And also give it a share, because you know, sharing is caring. Caramelised red onion, shush! Give a nice little turn. Don't know why I said a nice little turn as opposed to what, a crap turn. Two friends for this process. Big decent spatula for doing some flippy and a potato masher because we're going to have to mash potatoes up at some point. And even the cabbage is negotiable, that's the word, isn't it? Merry Christmas. Let's have a bubble. Gonna make a bit of bubble and squeak. Now I've got a lot of stuff here, but you can ignore it. Well, don't get scared, worried. So, bubble and squeak. I've done a video on it before, but I did it as a bit of a side piece. Bubble and squeak, if you don't know what it is, it's essentially bubble, mash and cabbage. But people usually chuck carrots and peas and God knows what else in it, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, as a way of bulking it up, but also a way of using up leftovers. Which is why loads of people have it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, brunch on Boxing Day. Because chances are you're going to have a load of leftover veg. So I am going to be using leftover roasties, which I left in the oven for a little bit long. So that is what it is. But just so you can get a bearing on this, you don't need to use premium ingredients. Got some leftover spuds that were never cooked, didn't need to cook as much of them. So I've just parboiled these to the point where they'd be ready to start making mash with. Got some carrot that I've diced up, parboiled that bad boy as well. I've got some fine beans, these are still raw. And I've got some Brussels here that I've halved. Got some onion, I've got a bit of cabbage I'm gonna chuck in there, some walnuts, because I thought it'd be a bit fancy. And black pudding. So I'm gonna do this as a bit of a fancy Boxing Day, black pudding and bubble brunch. All the bees. Bet you I can't say that again, I can't actually remember what I said. Got a few herbs, a bit of onion, a bit of garlic. And you know, if you haven't got enough gout as it is right now, chuck a bit of butter in there. But any and all you need to make bubble and squeak is potato, cabbage. Even the cabbage is negotiable. If you want to use broccoli, I ain't gonna moan at you. Brussels sprouts, you need something. It's not a proper bubble and squeak in my opinion if you don't have a green thing and an orange thing. You can have a bit of sweet corn, normal garden peas. You could swap the potato out for sweet potato if you wanted, or maybe even celeriac, or some sort of root vegetable mash. But you do need the mash thing to bind it all together, because otherwise, I don't know if that's the bubble or the squeak, but I'm also using two big pans because I'm cooking quite a big portion. I'm gonna make it in one pan, I'm gonna fry some bits off in one pan just to sort of lighten the load. If you've got two big pans like that, excellent. If not, cook all little bits and pieces and put it together. Right, first things first, get them out of the way for now. I'm going to get, these pans are already a little bit preheated, so in one pan, I'm just going to get a drizzle of oil. And I'm going to get my Brussels sprouts on the go. Cut a side down. Actually, I'm not going to be that OCD about it. Get them in there and then turn them. Cut a side down, just get a bit of colour on there. And in there, I'm also going to get half an onion. Just sliced up. Get a bit of colour in there as well on that. I'm just putting onion in there for a bit of extra flavour. You don't have to put anything in there that I'm putting in there. In the other pan, I'm going to get the bubble and squeak on the go. Oh, I've already got the bubble and squeak on the go. Black pudding. There's too many bees. Go in there with a bit of oil as well, just to aid with colouring and stickosity. So, black pudding, definitely not traditional in bubble and squeak. If you don't like black pudding, well, right, so bubble and squeak wouldn't really have any meat in it at all. If you don't want to put any meat in here, fill your boots. Or not, as the case may be. If you want to, normally, traditionally, what we'd have for Boxing Day is vegetables and potatoes mashed up to make bubble and squeak, and then we'd have the leftover meats from the night before, well, from Christmas Day, the day before. I'm taking this up a notch with the black pudding. If you don't like black pudding, but you do want meat, get some sausages, just like hack up some sausages. Haggis would be quite nice as well, but I can't imagine you not liking black pudding, but you do like haggis. That's a weird one. And I've got some leftover half cabbage that I haven't ate. And go in there with cabbage as well, just get it start sweating down. You want to be careful with seasoning. So everything in this pan, I know, has never been graced by the hand of salt or pepper. But if you're using leftovers that have been cooked in seasoned water, or parboiled potatoes that have been cooked in seasoned water, or even roast potatoes that have been on someone's plate that didn't get ate, which they haven't been touched, fair game as far as I'm concerned. Be careful, they might have a load of salt and pepper already on them. So you want just little bits here and there. Like I said, I know there's nothing salty, no salt's been gone in there yet, so they need a little bit of seasoning. But by all means, cook it all and taste it and season it at the end, because you don't want to over salt it, because you'll ruin it and you just won't be able to eat it. Have a little butcher's out of black pudding, see if it wants to turn. No, can go for a little bit longer. While that's all sweating down, I might as well get some garlic in there. Not using a lot, we don't want a garlicky meal. We're just adding it in there just to add a little level of flavour. And we're also going to go in there because, you know, like I said, if you haven't got gout by now, chances are you're immune. I'm going to chuck a few pats of butter on there that are going to melt down and just add even more flavour to the mix. Got some roasting herbs, bit of thyme, bit of rosemary. Just going to give them a quick little chop down, just so you don't end up with big massive stalks of rosemary more than anything. If you've got dry, or you don't want to put it in, that's your jam. Don't need to go nuts with it, we're not trying to powder it, but just a few flavours that you probably would have had on the plate yesterday, that some of these would have been cooked with, that are just going to help make it all like a continuation of your roast dinner, but for breakfast. It's like essentially like a roast dinner breakfast, or brunch. Give them a nice little turn. Let's have a little look at what some of these Brussels sprouts, see how they're doing. Yeah, so we're going to give this all a little bit of a, start giving this a bit of a flip and a turn. Got some nice colour on those sprouts. Gonna get those green beans in here as well. Tell you what you can do if you haven't got any leftovers. Maybe you didn't cook a big dinner, fair enough. Maybe you don't do Christmas, maybe you couldn't do Christmas. Maybe you didn't have a big Christmas. Packet of frozen veg. One that's got, it's like I said, as long as it's something green and something with a bit of colour in there. To be fair, you don't even need a bit of colour, really, you just need the green. Mixed peas, carrots and broccoli. Bosh. In the microwave even. Microwave, boil a potato, microwave potato. You've got to fry it a bit because you've got to get a bit of crisp with a bit of colour on there. You can't not have that bit of colour. Give it a blitz in the microwave, nuke it for a bit, chuck it in the pan with some mash, mush mush mush, fry it off for a little bit, Robert's mother's brother. I'm going to put those carrots in there. I'm not going to use all of these carrots actually. I don't know why I've cooked so many carrots. I'm just going to chuck the one in there. It's probably about 1 carrot's worth of carrot. Right, so, not much to do at the moment. I'm just going to let everything in that pan, get a bit of colour on it, let it cook for a little bit. And we're back in about 5 minutes and we start properly getting stuff together. 10 or so minutes later, got a nice bit of colour going on in here. Beautiful, say so myself. A Christmas stir fry. Well, it's a roast dinner stir fry, let's do Christmassy. Got a few walnuts in here. I'm running out of space, put them over there. Got a few walnuts, probably not going to use all of these, just want a few. Just going to give them a little bit of a crush. Use chestnuts. I wouldn't use a sweeter nut like an almond or a pecan or something like that. Just get them in there. If you haven't got nuts, don't worry about it. And I'm going to go in this caramelised red onion, caramelised red onion chutney. Sandwich pickle, be fine. Get it amongst it. That's just going to bring a sweetness to it that, with the exception of the carrots and those walnuts to a certain degree, this is going to be lacking. Pretty much all of our ingredients are now cooked. I'm going to start in this pan. I'm going to go in with our parboiled potatoes and our leftover roast potatoes. And we're going to give that a mash. Carefully your pan, if your pan's non-stick and you've got a metal masher, you don't want to go ruin your pans. If your roast potatoes are a bit on the well done side, you might need to pull them apart by hand or chop them up a bit. Just so, like, if you ruin your potatoes, well, these weren't ruined, they were just a bit overdone. Some people like that though. Just so you can get an idea of other ways you can use up things. But there's nothing wrong with going just plain mash, just using ready cooked well, not ready cooked, pre-cooked potatoes. Right, we're gonna add a little drizzle of olive oil. And we're gonna go in there with that. Now this isn't gonna be pretty, it's not supposed to be pretty, but it has a rustic charm to it, if you ask me. And took out the black puddings a bit earlier, so here's a little bit of a chop. Chef's privilege. Like I said, leave out the meat if you don't want to eat meat. If you think, well, like you've had enough meat so far this month, or trying a bit healthier, or if you're a veggie, vegan, add veggie sausages, veggie burgers. Is there a vegetarian alternative to black pudding? I can't imagine there is. I don't want to mash the black pudding up. So I kind of want little chunks of black pudding here and there amongst it. Give it all a push down into the pan. You want to make like one big homogeneous chunk. And leave it. Just leave it. We're just going to let it all cook down. We're going to let a bit of a crust form on the bottom. Just going to leave it for about 10 minutes. Low heat. Right, so yeah, about 10-15 minutes. Just leave it. So, already turned a bit of it. Just get in, flip it. It's going to break up, it doesn't matter. Do a nice bit of colour on the bottom. And then we're going to mash it all back together again. And we're actually, where's my potato masher? I'm not bothered washing it up. Give it a, again, be careful with your pans, but we're just going to give it a mash together again. Really homogenise it. Just give it another 5 or so minutes over the heat, just to brown that new surface. Right, I'll see you in about another 5 minutes. Here we go, home straight. Whoa, calm down. Just frying an egg to go on top. A little roasty bag. Perfect. Right, so yeah, bosh. Get yourself a big slice of the pie. As much or as little as you want. And top it with a fried egg. Or not, that's completely up to you. But there you go. Did forget to mention, when I put the potato in, before I mashed it all around, then's a good time to give it a taste, because, like I said earlier, you've got so many different things going in there that have been cooked in different ways and different times. Getting the seasoning right's a bit of a pain in the arse, so give it a taste then. It doesn't take a hell of a lot of work. Just keep chucking stuff in a pan and fry it off a little bit, and then keep chucking stuff in a pan. You can get away with one pan. You see, I pretty much only use the second pan right at the end, and just to cook those few bits of black pudding off. If you want to cook a bit, take it out, cook a bit, take it out, get a bit of colour on it, put something else in the pan, and just keep rotating it through like that. Then whacking it all in the pan together at the end to cook it up. And like I said, put in it what you want. You've got to have like a starchy potatoey sort of element. It could be sweet potato, that could be, you can make it with just carrots. Carrots will mash up, swede, turnip, parsnips, anything that's left over. Anything you got cooked and didn't get ate, or anything you got in your pantry that you didn't end up cooking, because we always end up buying too much. There'll always be a couple of leftover potatoes, carrots, parsnips, or if you just like the look of it but don't want to go out and buy that stuff, bag of frozen veg. That's all you need. Mix carrots, peas and broccoli in a frozen bag, the microwavable ones. Whack them in there. Between me and you, I don't give a crap if you use frozen roast potatoes. Cook them in the oven, mix them with the thing, mash it together on a plate. No one is gonna complain because it's still gonna taste good. Whack a tomato sauce, whack a brown sauce, stick an egg on top. Bosh. Get on this, it's beautiful. Right, I hope you're all having a good Christmas. I hope Santa Claus got you what you wanted and all that jazz. It's been a year. Been a year. But yeah. Not sure if I'm going to get the time to do anything in the gap between Christmas and New Year. So there might not be a video. If there is, it'll be something really short and sweet. But alright guys, cheers for what 2021 was. And it'd be a Christmas miracle if you could like, comment and subscribe, because I don't think anyone's done all three. And also give it a share, because you know, sharing is caring. But yeah, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. See you when I see you. Have a good Christmas if you haven't. And then New Year's and all that. And drink responsibly. Try not to get gout. And see you in the New Year. Feliz Navidad.